Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, going to be doing my July wrap-up. And July was a pretty big month. August is even bigger if you saw my TBR video. So plenty to talk about here. Before I get started though, I did just want to say one thing. And that thing is, like, in general, a massive thank you to all of you who are watching my videos and subscribing. I've had quite a jump lately in subscribers, and it's been jumping up way faster than I expected it to be by any means. I kind of had thought I'd already plateaued. And so not only have I been seeing a jump in subscribers, but some of my last few videos were way more views than I'm used to getting. Like quite a bit more, like 2 to 3 times or more for some of them. And I was just really surprised seeing some of my videos getting that many views more recently. And I don't look at my analytics a ton. I know some people pay really close attention. I don't as much. I just kind of check to see for comments and all that mostly. But I decided to take a peek. And on my recent videos that have been, once again, way higher views than what I normally get, the ratio of subscribed to non-subscribed was like 95% to 5, which is insane. So just all of you who are subscribed and actually are regularly watching my videos, that's so awesome. That number that most of my views are coming from people who are subscribing. Most people who watch my videos are subscribed and not just no, I don't like you, I'm not going to subscribe. That's pretty cool and that's pretty awesome. So just really thank you everybody, be it one of the long-term subscribers. I know I've definitely had some from the very beginning, and just all of you new subscribers as well. Just a huge thank you. It's pretty awesome, like I said, to see the channel growing, to see our Discord community growing. Link is always in the description for the Discord. It's just to see everything growing. Getting comments is always really nice. There's just, more views, more comments, and more subscribers means people for some reason are still liking what I'm doing, and this is definitely something that I do plan to keep on doing, at least as long as people want to see me do it, because I enjoy doing it. So thank you once again, everybody there, and I'll take a brief moment to just kind of say too, because I have noticed the views sometimes on videos are a little bit different based on what they are. So if there's a specific kind of content that you would like to see, or types of videos I've done that you enjoy more, definitely let me know down in the comments. It's always good to know what people do want to see. Can't guarantee I'll be able to do everything, but it's always just good to try, because if I give you guys what you want, hopefully you'll stick around. With no further ado though, let's jump into the actual wrap-up part of this video. So, when I did my TBR for last month, which was a combo video, I had said the main books I was going to be focusing on were, I think, there was some buddy reads and some e-arcs, but that was Fool's Errand, The Desert Prince, The Sword of Kaigen, which was our official buddy read, and then Nolyn by Michael J. Sullivan. And I was planning on trying to kind of shove some things in there as well, which I did, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about all of those. I actually decided to start the month off, though, with The Wilful Princess and the Piebald Prince. This is kind of like a novella by Robin Hobb, and it takes place in, further in the past than any of the, Six Duchies books, but it does directly relate in some way to, the Farseer lineage, and to the story of the Piebald Prince. And so I was told it was a good idea to read this first, prior to starting Tawny Man by Cryptic. So thanks, Cryptic. Who also has a super awesome Robin Hobb, Realm of the Elderlings themed Discord too, if you're interested in that. I'll see if I can find a link and put it down below. But so I read it first, and it was just really nice, because it was still Robin Hobb, but it was a shorter piece. And even though it was a very different style of story, I really, really enjoyed it. It just gave some kind of cool background and was an interesting story all on its own right. It's written as kind of the account of one person who's telling their part of the story, and then they're telling another person's part of the story as it was relayed to them, that just talks about this. And you get a lot of depth on the wit and why in the timelines we know people with the wit are looked at as evil and less than human and all that kind of thing. We get some more explanation there, which was really interesting. So I quite enjoyed that. And then most of my books, I still have, I feel plenty to hold up, but most of them were on the Kindle this month. So the next thing I started was The Desert Prince, because I was really excited to read that. And if you saw that I posted my not very good review, it didn't really go so well. So I started it, and I was not getting into it, so I ended up switching to Nolyn, which I really quite liked. It was my first Michael J. Sullivan. It was really enjoyable. I do have a full review for that one as well. It's just a kind of fun time. It sounds like it's kind of iffy on when you should read that one. It was supposed to be one you could read at any point, but it takes place like after the Legends, but long before the Rear Revelations. And I definitely want to read more Sullivan because I enjoyed his characters, the dialogue was a lot of fun, and I'm going to be checking out a lot more based on that. After that, I tried to continue reading The Desert Prince. I still wasn't really feeling it. I ended up just finishing it. Like I said, I did not care for it. It was a pretty disappointing read, and I do have a full review for that as well. And I'm not even going to talk about it now because I don't want to. Everything else I read has been good, so I don't want to dwell on it more. If you want to hear more about it, check that review out as well. I'll link all the reviews for these books that I do have out and go from there. So, editing Nico here, I somehow completely forgot to mention The Sword of Kaigen, which was one of my favorite books I read this month, and just an excellent book in general. I do have a full review for it where I talk a lot more in depth. Just such a really great book, one that I had heard a lot of people say they really enjoyed, and it lived up to the hype. It definitely did have some flaws as well, which I get into with the review, but honestly, it was just such a great book with great emotional moments, and so I had to edit in really quick and just make sure to mention it because it was a book that I very much enjoyed. So that you could have them if you would like to see them. But then, of course, we have Fool's Errand, which this was part of the Tawny Man trilogy read-along we're doing with Megan's Reading Revelations. I'll link her channel down below as well. This is the first book in Tawny Man, which is the second trilogy, and we get back to Fitz. And so this takes place 15 years, I want to say, after the end of Farseer. So we get to kind of see what's happened since, things that have changed and things that haven't. I really do like more reason, because I've heard some differing opinions, but I really think you should read Realm of the Elder Rings in order, because this does go back following Fitz and characters that were from the original Farseer trilogy, and there were references to the Farseer trilogy in live ships, and there are references to live ship traders in this book, so I definitely think it'd be good to do. This one I don't think I'm going to do a full review for, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit here. You can use timestamps if you do want to move on to the next books too, that I'll have them in. But Fool's Errand is kind of an interesting story because we're following Fitz and Night Eyes again. And it's posed as kind of like a mystery almost for a part of the plot. There's like this mystery happening. And the odd thing about it is Robin Hobb kind of gives you some pretty big clues. Doesn't necessarily outright tell you what's going to happen, but gives you some pretty big clues, which are presumably things I'm imagining that Fitz like researched afterwards, based on how some of it's done, where usually it was his writing. We get some other people's writings too. But it's done that way so that you definitely, as the reader, figure out what's going to happen, at least part of it, before Fitz does. And so it's just interesting, like the author's treating you as kind of like a conspirator almost, like some things that are going to happen. And then there were some other things that I was absolutely shocked by. I was not expecting at all, and definitely, of course, because it's not only is it a Robin Hobb novel, but it's a Robin Hobb novel about Fitz. There's some gut punches in there too. I'm in love with all I've read of Realm of the Otherlings, and I'm very excited to keep reading. This was just a fantastic book, very much so. I've not read any Robin Hobb book, I don't think, that I've rated less than 4 stars. Besides maybe Assassin's Apprentice, I think that was like 3. But they've just such quality. So after that, I did have some other things I needed to read, but I just decided I was going to do it. It's not a super long book. I threw in The Blackstone Heart by Michael R. Fletcher. I've been meaning to read some Fletcher for a while. I love this cover. It's a really cool looking cover. And like I said, it's not a super long book, so I thought I would give it a try. This one, the review will be coming, I think, the Friday after this is released. So yeah, so like 2 days from when I'm posting this video. And it's just really like nothing else I've ever read. Just the way that he writes and the kind of the tonal shifts as the story goes on. And we get a compelling character with a lot of like philosophical implications that are discussed too. with the nature of evil and what makes a person. Is it the sum of your experiences while you're alive, or is it your memories? And there's a lot of interesting discussion while delivering an interesting main character and an interesting plot, and so much like foreshadowing and just kind of like making you want to know what's going to happen next. So I'm really excited to read the second book. I'm probably going to end up shoving that into a TBR where it doesn't fit, like I did with this one, but we'll definitely see. So watch out for that review coming here soon for more. Then next up, I wanted to try to get some Discworld in, and I'm doing pub order. So the two where I was at are Witches Abroad and Small Gods. Now, I do plan on doing a joint review where I will talk about both of these. I had been reviewing Discworld books individually, but usually they're shorter books, and there's only so much I can talk about. So I think doing kind of more concise reviews on Discworld books and doing a couple at a time I think will work out. I didn't end up doing a full review for Reaper Man, which I really enjoyed, but what I will say is, as of recording this, I have finished Witches Abroad. I didn't like it as much as Weird Sisters. That one I liked more for the witches, but it is very good, and it's continuing the trend, which I think Small Gods will too. I'm not that far into Small Gods, I won't lie. Technically, I still have the rest of today, because I'm filming this on the 31st, to get as far as possible, but it's probably not going to be done. And there's still another book to talk about. So we'll have to see. But yeah, Reaper Man was very funny. He still had the humor, but had some more serious moments too. And Witches Abroad definitely had a little bit of that as well. Small Gods also seems like it's going to have some of that in there. Just some of the lines. So I've been enjoying the heck out of Discworld, but we're getting more into the vein where there's a lot more actually like storytelling and depth versus the early books, which were just all kind of satire silliness, which were still enjoyable for the most part, but I'm really liking having that coupled with the stronger storytelling, the more depth to the story and the characters. So I still absolutely plan to read all of Discworld, and for the most part, the books have been getting better and better. And I've heard everybody say that. Some people say like it doesn't even get close to peaking until you're much further in, and I've seen so much improvement. Only being, this is maybe 13 and 14. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not quite that far, but I'm not that far past 10 books in. So just to see so much improvement with these books already, just great. So very excited to continue there. And the last thing is I got pulled in kind of last minute into a read-along for the original Dragonlance Chronicles, and I'll link out to they did a discussion for the first book, which that was before I joined in. They had some people drop out, and so I am hopping in with Dragons of Winternight, which is book 2. And this also I probably should have read this month. And I won't lie, after I finished Blackstone Heart, I was slumping a little bit. It was toward the end of the month, and the weird thing is I really liked that book, and I don't normally slump after a book that I like, but I got really busy. I ended up having a weekend where I got like no reading done whatsoever, and so I just I lost a few days where I probably could have finished Small Gods and most of Dragons of Winternight, because neither one of those are very long. So I slumped a little bit and I slacked, but there will be a live show for Dragons of Winternight, which is going to be like in a couple of weeks, I think. Yeah, I don't remember exactly when, but it's coming up. And so that will be definitely some fun to do that also. But yeah, so look forward to that with that book. I have read it before, so this is just a reread. And I actually reread it last year. I hadn't read it since I was younger then. But I'm excited to get in and talk more about it, because this is a series I read a lot when I was a kid. And it'll be really fun to go back and take a look. But those are all of the books that I read or am still finishing for my July TBR. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. Check the link in the description if you want to join the Wizardly Duo Discord to join in any of the buddy reads we're doing, or just generally have any discussions. A lot of fun there. And of course, if you'd like to see more of my content, make sure to subscribe.